What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. In this box, I have the Copa Pure 2.1, the laced version with the normal U-throat tongue. Let's hop straight into the unboxing. So very typical for all of the 0.1 models and lower end models from the Adidas brand. You get this recycled box. It's fairly straightforward, just a dark gray with the Adidas 3 stripes. You've got made in part with recycled materials. That's part of their campaign. Most football boots nowadays are getting into recycled materials in their football boots as well. This upper actually has 50%, at least 50% recycled materials, which is a pretty cool feature as well. So you get the materials we use, the way we make, we're innovating to help protect our future. This is just the beginning. And then it's in French and in, I think, either Korean or Japanese maybe. And then here you go. So this is the Copa Pure 2.1, which is the official name there. These are a 9US in my normal 9US size. The sizing, as far as I'm concerned, hasn't changed. We'll see when we try these on, but my guess is they've stayed the same, particularly because it's the same outsole as well. 42 2/3 and then a UK 8.5, so that, and then a 27 centimeters. Right there. I know a lot of people recently have asked about my exact foot shape and width. That is something that I'm working on getting like a full scan of. That way you guys can have an idea of sort of a comparison of what my measurements are compared to the sizing that I get with my boots. So that is coming. I know it's taken a while, but it's I've been quite busy recently. All right, here we go. Oh, can see the blue already. So just a little piece of paper. This is like wear and care instructions. Oh my goodness. So blue boots, I think I love blue boots. I love red boots. I think both of those, especially a blue like this, that's like a royal, like a beautiful royal blue, I think is just absolutely stunning. These are really nice looking straight out of the box. Very, very similar basically from here forward and on the sole plate here. And then the major construction differences are in the heel area. But I want to get this other one out and then we'll talk about those construction differences because there are a few here in the heel area. No string bag, unfortunately, with the 0.1 models. So let's get that out of the way. And then we'll go like this, and here we go. I'm actually going to take this little piece off. This is just a little tag with sizing and information about care and stuff as well. So that's a nice feature. So the Copa Pure line remains mostly the same compared to the original Copa Pure line. So the original Copa Pure came out about a year and a half ago. Featured a calfskin forefoot and really, I think, made a nice upgrade compared to the previous generation just as far as comfort and performance. I know a lot of people liked the Copa 20, which had those kind of ridges of leather on it, and then the laceless model of that boot in particular was pretty nice. But I actually really liked the previous generation outside of the heel area, which is one thing that I think they've improved on quite a bit. Obviously, I haven't tried this particular pair on yet, but I am really excited to see what this heel area feels like because it does look a little bit more robust and potentially will prevent a lot of the pivot kind of issues that I had with them, especially down here where my ankle area is the thinnest. For those of you who don't know, I have quite a wide toe box, wide midfoot, and then my foot tapers into a fairly thin heel area. So oftentimes heel areas that look like this, that have a little bit more kind of tightness to them, actually fit my foot a little bit better, which is super nice. So overall tech specs for the Copa Pure 2.1, again, this is the 2.1 model that has the normal U-throat tongue here. The Plus model, which you guys will see a review of in the next couple days, has a knit. It's basically the laceless version of this that they've then put laces in, which I think is really cool. So tech specs for the Copa Pure 2.1. As I mentioned before, the upper contains at least 50% recycled materials. So my guess is a lot of that comes down to some of the stuff that's in the synthetic part of the forefoot, the midfoot, excuse me, and heel area, which basically starts from here back. One of the things that's very impressive about the way that they've constructed this upper, which is calfskin here, and then you have a fusion skin midfoot and heel area with some texturing along the lateral and medial sides of the midfoot, just a little bit of that dimpled texturing. Hopefully you can see that in the camera. Provides a really nice little bit of structure to the midfoot in the synthetic areas, and then giving you this unbelievably soft touch up in the forefoot area, which is fantastic. So this is a boot that has one of the softest touches on the market, I think, and especially at a $220, $230 price point, these do a really nice job, I think, definitely over the new Tiempo line that's obviously all synthetic, but it does a better job than that Tiempo, I think, of giving you a proper padded leather feel. This is much more traditionally leather feeling than that boot, and that's just something that carries over to this second generation as well. Same fusion skin upper, and this obviously has that U-throat construction, which is pretty fantastic as well. One of the things that has remained the same for since last generation is this torsion frame sole plate. So this is the same sole plate that we got on the Nemesis line. It is really nice. I actually fancy this a lot because of how rigid it is here in the midfoot, and there's actually a really, really nice amount of snapback here in the forefoot area, considering this is a traditional leather boot. I think this particular stud pattern absolutely crushes the new Tiempo stud pattern, just as far as responsiveness and how it feels on foot when you pivot into the ground, when you're taking that step off and you're really getting to go pushing forward. This gives you much more snapback than that one. And for me, that's kind of its main competitor, so we'll be comparing it to that Tiempo Legend 10 Elite quite a bit. You get all half-moon shaped studs, so they're really nice as far as gripping into the ground like a bladed stud goes on the one half, and then you get that rotational energy and rotational ability with that kind of half-moon shaped stud there in the in each of these studs, which is really great as well. So torsion frame from the Nemesis line stayed the same, nothing to report there from a difference perspective as well. So the major differences in this football boot are in the heel area, which we'll explore now. So they've reconstructed it to make it a little bit more robust and also add some more padding, a suede liner, and a little bit larger volume. So I'll try to do this as well. Really nice padding here through. It looks like they've added a little bit of padding as well to this tongue area, which has always been super nice and padded from the previous generation. But that is something that is actually kind of noticeable out of the box. I wonder if I just haven't had a Copa in my hands or what, but you can see this blue suede material that goes along the outside. We'll actually take a look in just a second inside the boots. I've got a new lens that actually allows me to get all the way inside the boot and give you guys a good idea of what that looks like. But this is a suede liner here with that blue area. The external heel counter comes up about to where the white and the blue meet right there, right below that Copa Pure sign. So you get a decent amount of lock-in, I would imagine, from about that external or the internal heel counter, going about halfway up, plus a little bit of flexibility and ability to adjust to different sizes of Achilles and ankle types. And then the way that this kind of swoops down is very reminiscent of that previous generation as well, giving you a nice amount of room for those of you who have bigger ankle bones in that area on the lateral and medial side. It does definitely feel significantly more padded. One of the reasons why I think the previous generation didn't do a great job of kind of grabbing your foot was because they had these little pads that ran along the inside on the lateral and medial side of the Achilles, about right there on either side. Kind of similar to Speedflow Plus, Speedflow 0.1. It was a little reminiscent of that, and I just found that they didn't wrap your foot as well as I wanted them to, and it caused kind of underneath that to be a really big point of rotational slippage, which again, for me as somebody with a thinner ankle area, really isn't that great and doesn't feel that good. So I will say that I hope that this is, this feels much more secure. This feels much more traditional as far as a suede liner goes. I imagine grip socks in here will be perfect because suede liners tend to do really well with that, with any sort of grip sock material, whether you have more of like a nylon, whether you have a regular sock, or you have sort of a true sock type fabric-y grip material. I think those will be great in there. So without further ado, that's it for the kind of the tech specs of this boot. I am very excited to try these on feet. As you guys know, the fit and the feel of the Copa Pure 0.1 was really nice. I had a great time in those, broke them in really well. This is an upper that is super soft and just really comfortable to play in. I'm hoping this is the same with the added benefit of a new heel area. So without further ado, I want to show you guys inside the boot, and we'll talk a little bit about the types of materials that they've used on the inside, so we can get a better look at that, and then we'll hop into the on-feet portion of the video. Let's roll. All right, guys, here we are with the Copa Pure 2.1. So I'm gonna actually take this bad boy out just so you guys can get a good look at what it looks like. So this is the Copa Pure 2.1 insole. These are fairly flimsy. They do have a little bit of padding to it, almost like a memory foam. And then I do really enjoy this suede liner. So you can really get an up close view of what that Copa logoing looks like with the suede. These should be suitable for most sock types. So whether you like to wear a grip sock or whether you wear your normal team tube sock, these will be totally suitable, and I doubt you'll have any sort of slippage. If you do, it'll be pretty minor just because it is going to be quite, the suede does a good job usually of gripping socks once it does get a little bit wet from sweat and all that stuff. So moving over then to the boots. So this will be an interesting way, hopefully, for you guys to see the inside of the football boots. So as I mentioned before, that is your suede lining. So you've got a really, really nice suede liner. It's very neutral, so there's no pads and stuff. When you guys watch the Plus review that'll come out in the next couple of days, you'll notice that there are two little pads on either side there of the ankle. And so what happens is in those types of football boots, I often, because I've got sort of a thinner heel area down in the lower part, so down almost towards where that stitching line is. So if we zoom way in, you can see where the stitching line is there, combining the midfoot shank with the suede material on the bottom. That's an area of the boot that I actually have quite a bit of trouble with slippage in a lot of different football boots, and it causes my Achilles to kind of pivot this way rotationally inside the football boot. But for those of you who do have a neutral heel or even a larger heel area, most of those types will be fine. But the reason I'm really excited about this football boot in particular is you can see how neutral it is, and it's quite padded along all sides of this boot, which is awesome. So looking now down into the football boot, you can see some really cool views of the midfoot shank, and then as it moves into from the blue suede on the side over to that white mesh material, so that's a synthetic mesh, it goes all the way on the underside. You can see where the tongue connects down in that area. I can push the tongue down so it connects all the way there and really just coats the inside of that leather and fusion skin. So a very nice touch on the inside, quality, comfort, and you can really see how that forefoot pad or forefoot harder plastic dimpled shank is. There you go, all the way in to the tip of the boot there. So not much to report from the inside of the boot technology per se, but it does look pretty cool from this angle. And there's a good angle of sort of the 4 different materials that go together to create the inside of the boot. Now, another feature that I think is really awesome about the Copa line in general, especially this new generation and the previous generation, I would say as well, is this tongue. Now, if you can see, look how thick this tongue is. So we can kind of put it sideways and you can see almost like it's like a memory foam. See how my thumb makes those dimples in it? That is such a nice feature for those of you guys who do have any sort of kind of raised areas anywhere in this area. So you're not going to get a lot of pressure points because you do have the ability for this to stretch quite a bit. And then as you put your feet in and as you tie the laces tight, it is going to allow you to not have any gaps on either side of that tongue area, which is a really nice feature. So again, there's your little lace hole as well, so really nice. So really nice feature. Again, that's the inside of the boot. There is your sizing tag as well. So that's the US 9, UK 8.5. There's that QR code and everything. For those of you who don't know, so if you're looking for a pair of football boots and you're not sure if it's legit, there is several codes right here on the right side. So where you see 7200723, the codes underneath that are what you can look up if you want to know if a boot's legit. So you basically type that in and then you can find out if that boot's legit or not. So again, I think this boot is really well constructed. I like the way that all the pieces flow together, and I'm very excited about this part in particular from the Copa 0.1 line, and we'll see kind of how it compares to the plus line. So let's hop into the on-feet portion of the video, and I'll talk a little bit more about what the boot feels like, what the sizing is like, and then of course we'll go from there, get some touch on the ball and all that stuff. See you guys out there. All right, fam, out here at the pitch with the absolutely beautiful Copa Pure in this blue colorway. I figured why not wear some blue tennis shoes as well, just to accentuate the color. I am really excited to see what these feel like on feet, and I am hopeful that a boot like this that's been updated in little ways that might make a big difference, for me at least, in the heel area, are gonna be a welcome contribution. So there are the boots. They are really nice. I did I put the tongue folded over just because I think it kind of has a sick look to it. It would be awesome to see the Copa, like a modern Copa, come back with something like this. So without further ado, let's hop into the on-feet portion of the video, try these on. I am hopeful that in a size 9 US, boom. Oh yeah, very nice. Okay, so sizing right away fits perfectly straight out of the box. A 9 US really is, I think, the way that I will go for the Copa line. Would recommend going true to size. I've got a tiny bit of space at the very end, typical for most Adidas boots, just because I think they fit just slightly differently than the Nike counterparts and stuff. So that's not super out of the norm for an Adidas boot, but let's get these laced up. I'm not going to go super tight just because I want to make sure I can give myself a little bit of leeway to break these bad boys in, but so far, really impressed with how these fit and feel. There you go. Really nice wrap around with the Fusion Skin midfoot area. I think the softness of this forefoot is definitely noticeable, and I do think the heel area is dramatically improved. Just standing here and kind of moving up like this, I have no slippage in the heel, and I'm very impressed with how those fit, especially in that heel area, which is awesome. Let's get the other one on feet as well, and we'll go from there. One of the things I'm noticing straight away as well is the moldability and adaptability of this upper. The previous generation Fusion Skin was pretty flimsy, I would say, compared to this one. I would say that they've done potentially some restructuring as far as how rigid the Fusion Skin piece of the upper is, especially on this lateral and medial side. But I would say that overall it does a really nice job of wrapping my foot, which, as you guys probably know from many videos, if this is your first time viewing one of my videos, welcome. I actually have the widest part of my foot. You can kind of see the boot already starting to bulge out in this area here, but my foot is widest, like basically between there and there on my foot. So to have a boot like this that kind of looks fairly narrow when you first look at them, but now that I'm trying them on, they are stretching a little bit. They look so good on feet, honestly. I love this blue color. I think the blue just stands out really nicely, and there's a good amount of visibility there as well. Pull my electric pink pants up, and there you go. Super nice. What do you guys think of the way these look? I'm a huge fan. I think these look really nice on feet. I think they do a nice job of wrapping your foot, giving you a good amount of flexibility through the forefoot and of course the midfoot as well. Sole plate feels really nice, and this torsion frame, as you guys know, I am a big fan of. I think on the original Copa Pure, it did a really nice job of digging into the ground, especially on artificial, while also giving you a good amount of pivot power there. So for me, that's a win-win. You could play with these on regular grass, you could play with these on natural grass and artificial grass, and it would be totally fine. Obviously, would recommend maybe an SG pair if you're going to play on super wet grass, but that's kind of the deal there. One of the things about the heel area that I appreciate so much is the way that it wraps your foot. There's a little bit of extra padding from here all the way around towards the inside right there, and it's a decent amount of padding that kind of covers the inside of that entire forefoot. You guys saw when we did the probe lens section of this video, you could really see that part of the heel, and I do think that this heel is much improved compared to last generation. So this is a full look at the boots. Obviously I am in a trench coat because it is very chilly out here today, but wanted to get these out for you guys and give you guys a good idea of what they are like on pitch. So I'm actually gonna grab a ball really quick, and what I wanna make sure we do is get some touches on the ball and also give you guys an idea. I would imagine that because of the way that these are similar to the older generation, they're gonna feel almost the same, if not the same, as far as touch and feel on the ball. Let's see if this is gonna focus for me. There you go. Is that gonna focus for me? Yeah, it will. Cool. All right, so here we go. Touches on the ball. Yeah, exactly the same pretty much as far as touch. Although I will say that there does feel, I don't know if they actually made any changes, or maybe it's just because I haven't had a Copa in a really long time. But I do feel like they have made some micro changes to the way that this just, it feels more padded here through the lacing system area. That may just be because I've been wearing like a GX and, you know, potentially some other thinner boots, but there is a decent amount of padding here, especially when you strike the ball with this area of the foot right there. And so for me, I think that's really positive for those of you who are interested in a more kind of padded, seamless, cushiony feel, especially those of you who really enjoyed the Tiempo. And if you really enjoyed the Tiempo, now that it's synthetic and it's also a little bit more, it's a thinner material, it's, you know, again, it's not leather anymore, I would highly recommend these. If you guys are on the market for something that's really soft leather, does a really nice job for performance, the heel area I think is a big improvement over last generation. Obviously we'll see in future training sessions in the next month or so, or month or two probably, given my training schedule. We'll do some extra sessions and make sure that this is really, you know, I really test these out and really beat the crap out of these, because I do want to know if this new and improved heel area is an actual improvement, or whether it's sort of just a visual difference, but it actually there's still some issues with slippage and stuff like that. So that remains to be said, but stay tuned for the 1 month review that will be coming out soon. I will be doing, you know, some shorts on Instagram. For those of you who don't follow me there, I do some shorts and do some like boot tests and stuff, as well as some really crispy, nice photos. So hope you guys enjoyed that. And I think that's all the thoughts I have for these ones. They're very similar feeling to the old generation. Again, I just feel like the heel area does a nice job of wrapping your foot a little bit more than the previous generation, but that's about it. Everything else feels roughly the same, maybe a little bit more structure all around, especially in that midfoot area, but to be honest, I'm not noticing a ton, but it will give you nice moldability and adaptability. Already these boots are molding to my feet in a way that feels really, really nice, and I can wiggle my toes like that, no problem. And I really think these are going to be super nice for most people, which is awesome. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the link to the original review that I did of the Copa Pure 0.1, the first generation, right there. As always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.